Welcome back to another Salt and Pauper video. My name's Chad. Today we're going to start a brand new series called Beating the Meta, and this one features CawGate. Let's get to it. Alright, let's jump into what makes this deck tick. So first up we have Squadron Hawk, a 2-mana 1/1 flyer. For a white and a colorless, when it enters the battlefield, you search your library for up to 3 cards named Squadron Hawk, reveal them, and put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. Next up in the creature slot is Sacred Cat. This is a 1/1 lifelink for 1 white with Embalm 1 white, which allows you to exile the card and then create a token that's an exact copy with no mana cost. You can only embalm as a sorcery. Next up, we have a 2-of in Guardian of the Guild Pact, which is a 2/3 for 4 mana. For 3 and a white, you get protection from monocolored on a spirit. And then rounding out the 12 mainboard creature slots, we have a 1/1 haste for 1 colorless in Ginger Brute that has pseudo-unblockable with an activated ability being only able to be blocked with creatures with haste, as well as some optional life gain in the food sacrifice ability. In the sorcery slot, we have a meager 3 Preordains. For 1 blue, you scry 2, then draw a card. The instance package is pretty robust. We have a singleton Suffocating Fumes, which is creatures your opponent control get -1/-1 until end of turn with cycling 2 for 2 and a black at instant. We have a pair of Spell Pierces. Counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 2 for 1 blue. We have a full suite, all 4 Prismatic Strands in the main board for 2 and a white. Instant, prevent all damage the sources of the color of your choice would deal this turn with flashback. Tap a white creature. 4 counter spells, counter target spell for 2 blue, and 4 brainstorms. You're going to draw 3 cards and put 2 on the top of your library in any order for 1 blue. With the enchantment suite, we have a playset of Journey to Nowheres. This is a ETB, exile target creature until Journey to Nowhere leaves, then you put the creature back. And then for Modern Ages, which is a saga from Neon Dynasty, 2 mana, 1 blue and 1 colorless for enchantment, 2 instances of draw and then discard, so you've got a double trigger for loot, and then at the last one you exile it to transform, which gives you Vector Glider, a 2/3 flying spirit. In the land package, we have the other namesake of the deck. We have the gate package. So we've got 4 sea gates, we have 1 heap gate, we have 4 citadel gates, and 4 basilisk gates. If you're not sure what basilisk gate does, it's a land that produces colorless mana, but for 2 and a tap, it can give target creature +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of gates you control, activate only as a sorcery. To complement that, we have those 4 sea gates, 4 citadel gates, a heap gate, and 2 Azorius Guild gates, as well as them themselves. So a total of 15 gates in the main board, as well as 2 Ash Barrens to supplement your small amount of basic lands, with 4 islands and 1 plains. So, looking at this main board, you'll notice that the creature count is quite low. That's actually where you're going to target this deck when playing against it. But just so you understand how the deck operates. Generally speaking, you're going to be playing a slow, control-oriented game, relying on your counterspells, your spell pierces, and a little bit of your control magic to set up a few early land drops that doesn't get met with too much resistance. The deck uses Sacred Cat as its main life gain mechanic, combining that with Basilisk Gate for big life swings. It uses Squadron Hawk as a recursive, quote-unquote, aerial threat to help push through damage with those Basilisk Gates, as well as 3, 2, 1. As well as to fuel the value engine of the deck, which is Brainstorm and Squadron Hawks. So you will oftentimes be able to get 3 Squadron Hawks from your deck, Brainstorm to draw 3 extra cards, put 2 of the Squadron Hawks back, play a Squadron Hawk, shuffle them up, get them back. It'll net you a lot of cards overall. And then on top of that, you've got the top end of Guardian of the Guild Pact, which of course has that protection from monocolored ability, which prevents it from being targeted, blocked, or dealt damage by monocolored sources. This guy's unblockable a lot. Most decks have a singleton, sometimes a 2-of way to deal with him, so playing around your Guardian will get you a lot of victories in the mid to late game. For interaction in the deck, you've got that host of counterspells. You also have a couple of spell pierces and that singleton suffocating fumes, as well as a fallback plan of 4 prismatic strands. Now, prismatic strands makes this deck very powerful in the main board, a 4-of nonetheless. A lot of decks are going to have trouble coming through that if they don't know about it, so be prepared for those prismatic strands. As far as targeting this deck and what it's weak to, your main point of contention on this deck is obviously to kill the gate. If you kill the 4 Basilisk Gates, they are a deck left with a bunch of 1/1s and fairly little to do with them. You can and will certainly outpressure this deck if they have no Basilisk Gates on the board. Things like Cleansing Wildfire, Thermokarst, Mwanvuli Acid Moss, those are all going to be prime cards into this matchup. Destroying your Basilisk Gate makes it very difficult for this deck to win. Outside of destroying the Basilisk Gate, if you don't have land interaction, you can contest this on creatures. You'll notice that with 12 creatures and 4 Modern Age, soft 12 creatures, the Sacred Cats count as 2 creatures each, unless you have Graveyard Recursion. You can absolutely use things like Makeshift Munitions, Pestilence, Suffocating Fumes, Arms of Hadar to effectively wipe the board of this deck a few times and run them out of resources, especially Makeshift Munitions. Makeshift Munitions is incredibly powerful in this matchup. Play around it. It is very good. If you can ping off other sources of damage, they have no way to win the game. Keep in mind, Basilisk Gate can only activate as a sorcery, so feel free to aggressively ping their creatures down. Moving into the sideboard and what this deck is good against. The sideboard comprises of a lot of flex slots, Arms of Hadar being one of them. You'll notice that this list has 4 Hydroblasts plus a blue Elemental Blast, really hedging against those red Blitz decks, as well as the Kuldotha red deck that's big in this format right now. We have 3 Dust to Dust, which is, again, big into Affinity. We have a host of 4 Pyroblasts. Those are obviously just going to come into anything blue. We have 2 Fairy Macabres. Now, this is often going to be good against some value-oriented decks like Turbo Fog, like Affinity, anything that's really going to have heavy graveyard interaction. You can even bring this in against Mardu, because you can interrupt their Omen of the Dead kind of shenanigans in the late game for that value engine. There's a lot of play in this sideboard, but the core slot consists of the Dust to Dust, the Hydro, and the Pyroblasts. These 4 slots you really can play with whatever is in your local metagame. As far as variations, you're going to see some decks running Sky Hussar in the main deck, which is a 3-mana 1/3 Vigilance that has to be casted with blue and white or it gets sacrificed, and when it ETBs, you get to replace itself with some card selection. You'll also see some decks cutting the Ginger Brutes for a full 4 Guardian of the Guild packs. Really, really important that you have an answer to that card in your deck. If you plan on beating anything in this metagame, Guardian is going to be in your way. Be prepared for it. What this deck is good against, this deck is going to really pressure the Kuldotha red and some of the more aggressive strategies like the Boros synthesizer lists, burn, red-black burn. All of those decks are really going to suffer against this because those Sacred Cats, if they eat a bolt or a damage spell of some sort, you're already winning that trade. It effectively hit for 3, and they're going to have to do it 2 per cat. So it's really, really difficult for that deck to 1-for-1 its way through. Outside of that, Prismatic Strands is an absolute house in all of those matchups, and having 4 in the main board means that you really have a lot of game in game 1. Obviously, that just gets better with 5 effective Hydroblasts in the sideboard. Weaknesses, this deck does take a little bit to start up. Like I said, if you can get rid of those Basilisk Gates, the deck kind of rolls over. There's not a whole lot of pressure it can provide on top of that. And then into things with, say, Makeshift Munitions or Pestilence, this deck really does struggle. So be prepared for this matchup. It's very, very popular right now, and you're going to be playing into it a lot, especially if you're headed to Vegas, any big event with a big Pauper side event or main event. Even if you have a local that's hosted with a lot of people, you're going to have to be able to play through this deck. Be prepared for it. I hope understanding the deck and some of its strengths, what it's good against and what it's bad against, helps you. Hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure you drop a like and a comment for the algorithm, and share the video with anyone who doesn't know how to beat CawBlade. As usual, I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys in Vegas. Anybody who's coming to Magic 30 in Las Vegas, come over, say hi. I'll be running cube drafts in a free play area all weekend. And for the token set giveaway off of last week's video, the 100 sub giveaway, the thing you have all been waiting for, drum roll please. Shattered Skies 7. Thank you so much for subbing to the channel, dude. I really, really appreciate each and every one of you, but we are going to send you a set of foil tokens for the Salt and Pauper channel. So congratulations to Shattered Skies 7. Please hit me up on Twitter or Instagram. Shoot me a DM somewhere so I can get a hold of you, and we will get you a set of those tokens sent out. Congratulations again. Thank you guys so much for 100 subs. I really do appreciate you, and I hope that you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.